Question, why is it a bad idea to loan your kids money? With help from families, buyers can make a larger down payment now, decreasing their monthly payments and allowing them to start building equity sooner, according to the Phoenix Realtors president, Cheryl Bowden, talking to Axios. Over 35% of millennials and Gen Zers who plan to buy a home soon expect to receive cash from family to help fund their down payment. Many of them expect a cash gift of some way, shape, or form. At what point do we stop paying for our kids? When I was growing up, and I'm going to sound like a fuddy-duddy here, when I was a kid.
Oh, back in my day?
Yeah, that's what it is. I asked mom and dad about college, and they said, you're paying for college. We had to pay for college, you're paying for college. And I came to them and I said, college is way more expensive now than it was when you went to school back in the 1800s. And they said, we did it, you can do it. Well, okay. To their credit, when push came to shove, they did take out a loan for college.
For you?
For me.
Okay.
And I had to pay that. But they took the loan out so that I could go to college. And then I had to.
So they got a little better interest rate than what you could have gotten, or you couldn't even get one?
No, I got like the student to Stafford loan and all that kind of nonsense, whatever. But then they had the other.
Okay.
So to their credit, they did help me get the loan and that kind of stuff. Right. But they didn't gift me $20,000 to go to college, right? Which I think now is about half a semester.
Yep.
But they didn't give me that. So this idea of mom and dad gifting money to kids so they can get a house is a little bit foreign to me. My parents are so stingy with money that Pops would never co-sign on anything. Cars, credit cards, houses, nothing. In fact, my wife's father died, had a place in Sun City, and so we took over ownership of that.
Your wife and you did?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Right. But we weren't 55. And so Sun City says, you have to have somebody here that's 55 on the title. So I just said to my dad, would you mind going on the title? You will be owner of this house. You just need your name on a title. He says, I don't want that liability.
Oh, could ding his credit somehow.
I said, Pops, the loan is in our name. You're not on the mortgage. You're just literally on the title. This is 100% on your asset column. He goes, I don't feel comfortable with that. He wouldn't even sign off.
Gotta be a catch,
He wouldn't even sign off on a free house.
Gotta be a catch.
Right. So we ended up using her mother went on there. Her mother and father were not together. But so we ended up using that in order to maintain the house for a couple of years before we sold it. But when I grew up, the idea of mom and dad giving you stuff was a little bit foreign. That's not to say my parents weren't gracious. That's not to say, there was a car that I had available when I was 16. And I don't want to take anything away from them. But the idea of signing out a dotted line for somebody else is a little bit foreign to me.
So, little different for me. When I went to college, my parents had a college fund for me. I was their only kid. And I went out of state. I went here to ASU. Yeah. It would have cost the same as if I stayed in state and went to Michigan State.
Oh,
so
crappy school.
So I was able to go to ASU, and there was money left over after that just rolled over and stayed in mutual funds. And then years down the road, I bought my first house when I was 35.
Okay.
And I used a large chunk of that money for the down payment. So did my parents give me money for a house? You tell me. They definitely paid for college.
Judges? Pablo, did his parents give him money for a house, or did they give him money for college, which he did not? He didn't spend it all, so he was frugal with his college spending.
Economy,
the college for sure, and then a little bit of the house.
So he paid for his college.
Yeah,
and then markets just went up, and I had more money left over, and they let me use that for the house.
That wouldn't have happened had he gone to a more expensive school.
Correct.
So did his parents pay for college, or did they buy his house?
Both.
You're going both? Okay. All right. The judges have ruled. Your parents helped you out.
So no, they definitely helped me out. I feel like they helped me out, and I feel like it worked out pretty well in my case.
I'd say it did.
Now, if I had a brother or sister, I would have had to shove them down a flight of stairs because my parents wouldn't have had that same kind of money. There would have been no money for Joe's house.
Sure. Especially after the lawsuit from the stairs.
So I benefited also from being the only kid.
So now I'm on the other side of this, where I'm the parent, and I've got 3 kids in their 20s.
Yeah.
I got one that turns 30 here next month, and I'm a little concerned that at some point he's going to want to try to buy his own place, and he's going to come to us.
Do you really? Wow, okay.
I do think at some point he's going to.
Probably ask for something.
I have nothing to give him.
Love.
I don't have an extra 50 or 60 grand to give him so that he can buy a house. And my 25-year-old, I can't even get my 25-year-old to load the dishwasher.
You do have knowledge, too. You know how to fix a lot of stuff.
I don't need to fix their stuff. They need to learn how to load their own daggum dishwasher. They need to learn how to replace a garbage bag in their own rooms.
Okay, but if a sink or faucet break?
Fine, I'm helping them.
Yeah.
But I'm not giving somebody, I'm not expecting them. Okay?
$50K.
I'm not giving them $50K. I'm not loaning them $50K in the hopes that they're going to give me $1,000 back. I'll loan you $50,000, but you have to pay me back $1,000 a month. They can't even do the basics.
Yeah.
Why do I think that they're going to be able to give me $1,000 a month?
I think a loan, there's a big difference between the loan and the gift.
Yeah.
The loan, I think, is worse because that sets your kid up to fail if they can't pay you back, and it sets you up to look like a huge jerk, too. Now, Are you a jerk if you give them a loan? No. But if they can't pay you back, you're going to have to be the one who throws the hammer down and says, either I'm taking you to court or you need to pay me. And you don't want to be in that situation as a parent.
No, you don't.
And you don't want to put your kid in that situation either.
Not only that, but we also don't know what circumstances might change between now and the future. So suppose that Junior comes to you and Junior says, Dad, I got my eye on this house, but I can't afford it. First red flag. You want to buy a place you can't afford. All right. Then all I need is a down payment, and then I'd be able to afford then the mortgage would be the same as the rent that I'm paying right now. Okay, great. But why is that my responsibility? Okay. And then what happens when they get married and the new wife says she doesn't want to live in that house anymore? Now, am I out of luck?
You would hope that they would sell that house to
I would hope.
Come up with the new house.
Sure. Okay. What happens when they get married and then they have a kid and all of a sudden they're tight 1 month? Yeah. Where am I on the priority list?
Further down.
I'm way down the line because are you going to kick me and your grandkid out on the street?
Your kid really sounds needy.
Yeah, very needy. Any kid that's taking money from their parents in order to buy a house they can't afford is, by definition, needy. Not only are they needy, they are dependent. And they are lacking then that transition into independence and into adulthood. Now, don't confuse anything I'm saying, and I'm sounding like a real hardtail here. Don't confuse this with me having a lack of empathy, because I do think it's harder to get into a house now than it ever has been in the past.
Yeah.
Just like it was harder for me to go to college than it was for my parents to go to college, and it's even harder for my kids, and it'll be even harder for their kids. Don't confuse what I'm saying for a lack of empathy. I'm just saying that you got to take care of yourself, and you can't go shelling out money, especially in a loan to a family member. But even a gift, what happens? Suppose that I gift my kid. Let's say my 30-year-old comes to me and he says, I really need $50,000 to get into this house that I can't otherwise afford.
And you give it to him.
And we just got engaged. He's not. Oh, man, that's a good nugget. I should drop that one on the air and just plant that seed in his girlfriend's mind. Yeah, that's a good idea. I like her. She's good for him.
It's a bad idea. It'll backfire.
What happens when all of a sudden I go, you know what? Here's a wedding gift, guys. Here's $50,000 as a wedding gift for you to use as a down payment.
Well, first off, your other kids will want that too.
Bingo.
So.
Don't set the precedent. Great point. But here's $50,000. A year and a half down the road, she's had enough of him. She's out.
Oh, well, you're not getting that money back.
Gone.
Yeah.
She gets the house. My money's gone. There's no equity in the house for my kid. My kid doesn't get anything out of it.
She gets probably 60% of the house. Your kid would get 40%. Yeah.
You're hoping. All depends on how the lawyer. And my kid is like, she's got to raise our 3 kids that we had in those 18 months. I don't know how they pulled that off. So I just gave her the house.
Oof.
Yeah.
Wow.
You can't control your own kids' decision making. As a parent, the best you can do is hope that you prepared them with the tools in order to make the right decisions.
So the best you can do is give them nothing.
Absolutely. Support them along the way. If they need a little help, say the kid doesn't have formula and it's formula or the mortgage, I'll help you by buying the kid's formula this month. No problem. You're paying your own mortgage. I'm not.
Well, then they're not getting the mortgage. They're not going to be able to come up with that 50 Gs.
Yeah, if they're already in, let's say they did it. It just got me thinking more and more about how hard it is to just even have kids right now.
Thanks for watching The Chris and Joe Show. Click to see more from Chris and Joe and tap the button in the middle to subscribe to KTAR News.